Okay, today's Zentangle is going to be a feather. I'm going to use this. Buff sort of colour or sandy sort of coloured paper. It's not quite white. You could just use white paper. You could use any colour paper really. I'm going to use this sand colour paper because I'd like to play around with the idea of some white highlights as well as some shading. So we'll use a white pencil and a brown pencil in our torchon and our PN pen. You could use a coloured pen as well if you'd rather. Where we're going to start is basically trying to draw like a sort of an elegant sort of an S shape. Just a gentle curve, and this is actually the curve of our sort of our quill of our feather really, so like the spine of the feather. And part way up our feather spine will be another gentle S-shaped curve. I think it's going to meet up at the end here. So I'm just drawing straight into pen because, as we know in Zentangle, there are no mistakes. So we just be bold and draw it out. I keep like using these elegant S shapes just to finish our pattern. We'll come back to that. So we've got a sort of a bit of a basic string here, and then to make it give it some real, make it look as though it really is a feather here. We'll give it a little bit of reality at the bottom, and then we might have our edges join up to each other. So now we really have a bit of a string. We've got some sections that we can fill in here. I'm going to start with this section here, and what I'm going to do is give it an aura, and then take a line right through the middle of this segment and aura that also. Then I'm going to complete this edge on this line and create one more aura line. And whenever you like, it's just you can redraw the line to sort of smooth things out there. And on this one, in this section here, I'm going to use a tangle called Finery. And Finery is one that we've used on an earlier tangle that we did, but I think it works really well with this because it's like a minor version of actually what we've just drawn. So we're going to do these elegant S shapes all the way along one spine to another, where we're taking off and landing. So we've ended up with a sort of something that looks similar to what we just drew in a larger form, and then in the spaces in between we're going to look at drawing a line that sort of follows in between, and then a few dots following on after it. And again, you can redraw this line to make it more solid. Doing the same on the other side. So there we have the start of our feather with a little finery at the bottom. Because it's a Zentangle feather, it's going to be made up of lots of different tangles, lots of different patterns. And really you can just repeat your your favourite patterns you've learned so far is something fun that I like to do with these. I'm going to just draw one here. My totally go-to pattern here, printemps. It's a super rainy day while I'm filming this. It's the first weekend of our Rahui here in New Zealand. Right, and wherever you want to, you can just kind of draw some lines that join up. To the feather, just drawing them as we go. Might draw another one that just Here's one we drew on the first day, I think it was. Or maybe it was the second day, but it was one that I quite like drawing, and that's poke leaf. Just trying to make that fit in our gaps that we have. Another one you know I like is Muka. I'm just going to draw a few little Muka here. These feathers are so much fun because you can just, you know, absolutely as you go along, think of what patterns you want to draw in there, and you're bound to be making up your own, doing ones that you've found you've really enjoyed from past lessons, and you just get to, you know, have a look at the space and say, well, what do I think might suit that, and just, yeah, play with the shapes and take your time and just have some fun with it. One that I almost always end up doing on these feathers is just a very simple sort of version of a straight line, thick straight line. Don't know why, but it just seems to look really effective. Straight line, thick straight line. And just breaks up the space nicely. And like we did here, wherever you want to, you just draw maybe some additional feather lines. I don't know how many of these feathers I've drawn now, but it's probably in the well, it's up there. Let's say more than 20, less than 100 maybe. But they are something that I can just quite enjoy going to and just drawing, you know, while I'm listening, or yeah, when I have half an eye on a TV program, and I kind of like the idea of just listening. So we can also, this is one that I like, is Flux. That's an easy one to add in here. figure out a way for this line to look like it was meant to be there, so let's see. This tangle has no name, I'm just making something up here. Aura lines. This is something I love that Maria always says is, from when in doubt, aura. That's fun. Kind of has a peacock feather kind of a feel to it. A little pattern I love called Ravel. So I'm just trying to make This is a really absorbent paper, so it's actually really sucking the ink up, making the ink lines a little fatter than they have been on other papers with this pen. It doesn't matter, we just work with what we have here. That means I've been doing a lot of redrawing of the lines where the ink's been a little more absorbent than I thought it would be. So I'll redraw the outside line as well. Just thickening that up a little bit, just to be more consistent. So nearly at the edge of our feather. It's going to pop a little shattuck at the top here. It's a fun one and easy. we have our beautiful feather and it's all finished. I'm hoping that it's focused okay. You can see where I've come back in. I've redrawn some of the lines just because it's such absorbent paper, so it's bleeding a little. The ink is really spreading out a lot more than I would on other papers. And then next thing is our shade, and so with our graphite pencil, we're just going to give a bit of shade to either side of that center quill, so that centers the stem of that feather. I'm just going to give it a bit of shade to either side. And with our torsion, blend that in. And then I think each of these can be shaded as you would shade them normally. So with fine red I always shade again either side of the center quill, sort of bleeding outwards. And then here's the fun bit, is that we're going to add our little highlights in, and for this finery I would just add a little white highlight at the tips of each of these. Put a little highlight into my quill as well. Just bring that right forward. I have to stop and sharpen my pencil shortly. So shading from the quill upwards, and then adding our highlights at the tip. With our poke leaf, I think just a little shade in the stems, it's a good idea, and then maybe on the lower side of this, blend those in, and then with our white pencil I'm just going to give it a little bit of a highlight on the upper side of each. Sort of just shading along the stems of these, and then they're each going to get a little white highlight. Not everything in your feather needs to get shaded, it's just how you kind of fancy. And I love, because I've used this sandy coloured paper, the white chalk really highlights, really shows up. So I'm just going to use it where I think it looks best, and on this one I'm going to shade both ends of these three lines here, and the white highlight is going to sit in the middle of them. So with shading, we're always just thinking whatever is lighter is popping forwards to the eye, whatever is darker is falling behind, going backwards, appearing further away. And as you go through, sometimes this white pencil takes a little bit of the edge off your black lines, so you may like to just go through and sharpen those up as well. So you can redraw, for example, over lines like this that have become dulled by the white. These little ravels look really good. Bit of shade in in the corners, but also with a bit of white. And if it's easier, you can even use your white gel pen just to put a little dot of white into those. Just remember, whenever you use your gel pen, that the paint that comes out is wet, and it's very easy to smudge it. So you want to sort of avoid the area. It's a bit of fun drawing a feather, and again yours will look different to mine because you would have all used different tangles. I usually try and just sign my artwork at the tip of the quill. Have fun!